Hey guys, in this video I will review a game of mine that I recently played on a Smurf account, where I'm playing with a new item build and rune setup for Ekko. This build is not technically new, but it is built around a playstyle that is pretty new to me personally, and is definitely not one of the most common builds you see. This build is really built around movement speed and burst, and not giving your enemies any room to breathe as soon as you get ahead. Because of this, I believe this setup snowballs the hardest and is the easiest to snowball with of any setup that I've played with so far. As you can see, I've been having great success with it, especially after playing some games with it and getting used to the setup. These games were in high platinum to low diamond elo, so of course I was smurfing there, but the fact that I'm able to consistently carry games with it means that you, the person watching this, who's probably in that elo or below, can technically achieve the same. Ekko currently has all the tools he needs in his kit and the damage numbers to carry most games, so no more blaming your teammates. If you want to be a good Ekko player, you need to take 100% responsibility for everything, even if it's not your fault. So before getting into the actual game review, I want to explain some of the choices and highlight the strengths of this setup so you have a better understanding. The rune page I'm running is the standard domination plus inspiration rune page with a twist of going electrocute instead of dark harvest. Even though dark harvest synergizes pretty well with Ekko since he has the execute passive in his W, I believe electrocute synergizes even better. In my opinion, it is more valuable to get people below that threshold of 30% HP as fast as possible with upfront damage than being able to finish them off with the extra damage from Dark Harvest. Usually, if you get someone below 30% HP, you won't have a very hard time killing them even without Dark Harvest due to the W passive anyways. Especially in the early game, Electrocute provides more value since your cooldowns are pretty high, so the chances of you being able to use abilities to proc Dark Harvest are quite low in most circumstances. Electrocute is also better in my opinion since it will consistently provide the same value and you don't need to stack it up. You will see in the game review that after getting some kills early, I have a few minutes of downtime to get my rocket belt before I completely start taking over the game, and I have noticed that trend in other games of mine as well. With Dark Harvest, this would be an issue since I would not be actively stacking it up, so its value decreases. The next choice in this build I want to highlight is the Blue Smite. I've said before that I believe you should only build Blue Smite against ranged, squishy team comps, but after playing with this build for some time, my mind has changed and I honestly think it will be my baseline smite choice from now on. Upgrading the Blue Smite gives me the biggest feeling of a power increase of any of the smites. The movement speed you get is incredibly valuable for a lot of reasons. The biggest one is that it always allows you to be present in teamfights and just really gives the enemies no safe space when you're ahead. Especially in lower elos, people don't realize how fast you will run at them if they're too close to a brush. And as you will see in game, too close is actually still pretty far away from the brush, so it will probably surprise you. The extra movement speed also allows you to clear your camps more, since you will simply take less time moving through the jungle, and with that it's the only smite that actively increases your clear speed. And the last thing I often overlooked is also the increased survivability this smite provides. The extra movement speed is also available in combat. This means when you're fighting somewhere in the jungle, you will be able to escape a lot more, since you will always gain a 45% movement speed bonus when entering a brush. This extra movement speed will also give you the feeling that your mechanics are on steroids and you can completely overwhelm the enemies. The last defining piece of this build is the Lichbane. I've always been a big fan of Nashers, but after playing with this setup, I've started seeing Lichbane's value more and more, and I've realized that it might even fit my personal playstyle better than Nashers. The Lichbane is not even so much about the extra burst as it is about the movement speed and ability haste. The damage numbers Lichbane provides are honestly not very impressive if you compare it with items like Shadow Flame. However, the utility is just unmatched even by Nashers. The clear speed difference between Lichbane and Nashers is also negligible, since you basically one-shot every camp at 2 items no matter what. Lichbane also synergizes very well with the Blue Smite, and you will usually be the fastest champ on the Rift. When playing this build, I also adopted a bit of a different mindset to how I usually play my games. I'm looking to force many more plays and really get enemies to a point where they're completely out of the game and aren't allowed to be on my screen anymore. My standard playstyle was usually to just scale up and then skill check the enemies at 3 items, but I believe this hyper-aggressive playstyle is actually better, especially in lower elos where people make loads of mistakes you can easily punish. Just as a side note, I've also started prioritizing objectives much more because I've realized that not getting them lost me a lot of games even when I was strong, but that has nothing to do with this build directly. All of these components create a very coherent playstyle that fits Ekko's kit perfectly and that is very consistent and most importantly, incredibly fun. I don't think I've had this much fun playing Ekko in a long time. I believe that this build simply has the highest skill expression and it just feels like you're farming highlight clips. I did the game review live on stream and I will be doing more in the future as well. well, so if you want, you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ekkoliner, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, consider doing that as well. I will upload all of the game reviews here as well. If you feel like you learned something, be sure to leave a like, since it really helps out. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the review. I usually do this W just because it costs you nothing, right? You will have it up again, and sometimes you might spot if you play with first break, you can even get 5 extra gold, so that's nice. There's a lot of things you can do that just won't cost you anything, so just do them, right? Same goes here in a second. At 126 I always place the W, so I will have it up again for the next camp as well. See, and then I walk in to stun it. Also, if you're thinking about why I'm pathing bot, it's Cardus and Thresh, very easy to gank lane, and also Mondo has a very good leash with his Qs because they deal a lot of current health damage. Then I always smite the second camp. The reason for that is because the passive rotation will be in a way where the second passive proc will be so the Grump is below 30% HP, and on Crux it's even more important, because then you can Q while walking forward as well. With the wolves it's important to only auto-attack them once, and then let your pet finish them off, right, so you don't need to waste any auto-attacks on the small wolves. And also, just let me pause real quick. While I'm doing this is something a lot of low-heal players they don't do. While I'm doing this, especially while I'm killing the wolves, I look at the mid lane and I look at the bot lane a lot, right? Just see how they're playing, how the wave set is, and if that's something I can gank. And that's what a lot of low-heal players, they're basically playing with a blindfold on. They're not even looking at the lane, so they can't even really know if they can gank it. And for example, here you can see I'm pinging that I'm on the way. I'm not gonna clear my bot set because against, like, these champs are super easy to gank. Also the Thresh, I think he invaded, like when they invaded he flashed or something, so we know he doesn't have flash. So this is just a free gank. I also targeted the Thresh, of course, because he doesn't have flash. And then, yeah, the Twitch, he flashes in to slow him, that's cool. So I'm also gonna give him the kill. The way you gotta think about it is the Twitch, he used his flash to get a kill. So first of all, it will feel really bad for him if he didn't get that kill. And also, I still have my flash available to get a kill somewhere else, so yeah, I think that's why you shouldn't take those kind of kills, right? Just leave them to your laners. But just for the mental alone, of course. Here you can see I'm always... This is very important, right, for your efficiency. You should never waste your auto attacks on the small Crux. Always start walking here and then Q backwards to hit them all. Yeah, clearing red, obviously nothing special about that. As you can see, I'm also always kiting towards the next camp I'm gonna clear. Just these kind of small efficiencies, they're gonna add up with Ekko. And it's important. Okay, that's interesting, I didn't even know that that happened. Oh no, I did know, yeah. Well. See, now here I'm gonna look for a mid gank. And you can see, he even knows I'm here, but it's a low heal player, he just doesn't react properly. Also you can see I'm getting his shield out. And also just slowing him to get into the range. Yeah, we get him. It's fine, of course. I mean, the Yasuo probably doesn't feel too bad about getting a kill there when I ganked him, but for me personally, I know that I'm gonna use the gold better than he is, so yeah. This base, obviously pretty good. Gonna get a blasting one, Dark Seal. Sure, yeah, also getting a control ward. I think I kind of stopped buying control wards because I became greedy, but I think they're definitely worth it. So just buy control wards if you can afford them. Yeah, here I'm walking here just to check if the crab is up. Also, I love placing this ward. This is probably my most placed ward. It just gives your laner a good side to play to red. Most people won't path here, so usually if someone's pathing ganking from this side, they'll be spotted. And also the enemies usually just don't clear this ward. So it stands for a very long time. It's just a very, very solid early game ward. Of course, as soon as you start getting ahead on whatever, you want to start placing more aggressive wards, maybe here, or even here, or here, to get more valuable information, but in the early game I really like placing this ward. Yeah. Here, obviously, I see bot lane's fighting. And I'm just going there. Collect free kill. Right here, I don't stay in the fight. I think not really. Maybe I could have, but the problem is with Cardus, he has his passive, so he can be quite scary after you kill him, and on Ekko it really just sucks to die. So yeah, might have been a mistake. Honestly, probably could have stayed in there to get the kill as well, especially because I flash up. But as you will see, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. Also, you can see here. This line where I'm not getting any kills between like minute 6 and minute 9 is why I like Electrocute over Dark Harvest, because with Dark Harvest these 3 minutes are just gonna be completely wasted and you're not stacking it up, and with Electrocute it just doesn't matter, right? You will get the same value with it no matter what. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Dark Harvest because of that, and I think these 3 minutes I just need them as Ekko to be safe, right? Get my rocket belt, be able to see now I have a decent base, I can just buy the alternator, but I don't want to be forced to commit to aggressive plays as Ekko. I just want to be able to scale up sometimes. Obviously with this build it is all about tempo and forcing plays, but still in some situations like 3 minutes is not a long time, right? But sometimes you need these 3 minutes to just complete your items. And a rocket belt power spike is just so massive. Here I just get the cannon. Small little things you should take that just can make the difference. You can see also in the early game I always use W to clear, and later on I stop using it. Early it just helps you stay completely healthy, of course, and then later you want to keep it in case something happens, because it's quite a long cooldown. And also always stay efficient with your clear, right? Always keep clearing to the next camp and that kind of stuff. It will add up, it really will. I don't know, the Twitch somehow stole the Drake here, that's obviously great. Probably should have been there, might have been a mistake on my part. But we got the Drake anyways. Here you can see I'm even going over there just to piss him off a bit. That doesn't really matter, I honestly don't deal a lot of damage. Was even a bit risky. If I got hit by that Q there, I'd probably die, but yeah. Sometimes just chunking the laners is worth it. And yeah, here I actually fucked up with that ult. I shouldn't have ulted out before proccing my passive, but I thought he had his Q up again and could just kill me there. As you will see in a second though, this Yasuo kind of grieves here, so... I mean, he really outplayed us there, but he throws it all away in a second now, so... By doing this, yeah, because he has no more minions, he just takes a tower shot, and his team is question mark pinging him. Yeah. Right here after this, I can take a base in a second here and have my rocket belt. Or what I'm looking for now here is a Ling Yank. Also very very potent. In these kind of timings, people usually don't expect it. I should have placed my W earlier here. I don't get the card this because I just didn't engage at a good time. But I get his flash, I think. No, we get the Thresh flash and he saves him. So that's fine. Could have gotten a kill there, but obviously not optimal. But see, the lane state is also very good for my bot lane now. They can freeze it here. Now I have my rocket belt. I even have an extra M tome. I'm really strong. Right, and now you can see in the timeline I'm gonna get a lot of kills. This is also something, just be aware, right? If you see the enemy jungle moving, you need to move there as well. And with these kind of Ws, they won't see it. Just gonna... They won't see you placing a W if you place it at max range. So they basically have no real time to react to it. See, like I'm placing it out of vision and then engaging onto them. Obviously the Riven shouldn't get stunned there, but... Yeah. Also small mechanic here. Sorry for rewinding so much. But I want to get in as much info as possible, of course. The way that I'm using my Q here, I'm staying close to her just to proc it, right? It doesn't look like I'm behind her, because I'm not, but the way the hitbox works, it will usually still hit. Thank you for the follow. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing you should be aware of as Ekko, for sure. just you can be close to the enemies and the Q hitbox will still hit and proc your passive sometimes. Like when chasing enemies, you can often abuse this. Okay, so now I'm just looking mid again. Because, well, the Yasuo is just playing very aggressively. And as you can see, he's just dying. I mean, also the way I played around the wind wall there, right? As Ekko, you should I've said this before. I've said this like a lot of times before. A lot of the skill that comes with having good mechanics is just playing around enemies' abilities. And as you can see in this clip, for example, first of all, I'm very aware of his Q, of course, so I sidestep it, and then also I'm not using my Q right away. I'm just waiting until his W is used. And then, yeah, just Q on him, use the rocket belt to gap close and proc my passive, and the Karthus is tilted as fuck, ping that I have a 500 gold shutdown. Yeah, and see now, Karthus, for example, he's a champ. He has nothing. What's he gonna do? When we dive him here, what can he do? He doesn't have flash, he has no movement abilities, he's just dead. We just collect the free kill. And we don't even have to use anything, right? Okay, we used Twitch ult, but we didn't have to use my ult, so no huge cooldowns that are gonna be important used here, so that's completely fine. And I'm still hovering, of course, because we saw Lilia, but yeah, I'm just actually. Yeah, I think not taking the Drake here was kind of a mistake, but I think at the time I was a bit scared because the Lilia is also pretty strong and I had a lot of gold. Right now I bought Magi's and boots, so yeah, against Lilia and like Thresh, having these boots definitely feels good. It makes you feel much safer, for sure. So yeah, now is where I really feel strong and confident. Before this phase, I was still kind of, it felt still like I was kind of even with the Lilia. Right now we just collect her really quick here, and then I also get the Thresh. Of course, there's nothing. He knows his fate. Honestly, I'm just waiting for my cooldown. My W wasn't up. I don't know. Okay, I guess he didn't know his fate. For some reason, he thought he would live there with flash. I don't know why. But these are the kind of things that are gonna happen in low elo all the time, right? They're gonna happen in your games as well if you're in low elo. So just play around it, be aware of it, and abuse it. Yeah, the Yasuo, I don't know, goes for hero play. Whatever. But this is not the kind of stuff I really want to showcase, because it's not even... I don't even have my blue smite stacked. I think blue smite, honestly, from all the smites, it feels the most impactful. By the way, we shouldn't have done Drake a long time ago here. That's something I really just started doing after this game, honestly. Yeah, as you can see, also the Thresh just... Yeah, he's just not allowed to be there, right? And he's not aware that he's not allowed to be there. Yeah, but Drakes are super important, guys. Just really... Don't undervalue Drakes like I did at the start of this season. They got buffed by so much, they're just... really what's gonna win you a lot of games. And that's also what lost me a lot of games when I wasn't doing them, even when I was fat. Yeah, I'm gonna have my smite upgrade in a second here, and then... The thing is, the way you gotta think about blue smite is, it's the only smite that will actually increase your clear speed. Because you will walk to the camps faster. So it will allow you to clear your camps more than with other smites. But with other smites, you might not be able to join fights oftentimes when you're clearing. Or you might be too late when you try to clear. But with blue smite, you get so much movement speed. You can just clear the camps and then run around, and also through the brushes. It just saves so much time. It's very hard to really quantify the value of it, but I think it's... The more I play with it, the more I fell in love with it. It feels so good. Yeah, here I'm also just pushing mid tower. I think it's super important to open up the map, especially mid. It's really gonna... If you get the mid tower, the enemies have much less space to really be on the map, or to be allowed to be on the map. Yeah, here... See, like, I don't need to be scared. I know it's a 1v2, but she has to flash out. What are they gonna do? I'm so fat, and you just need to really play like it. Right, they can't do anything. I'm just running them down at this point. Obviously, I didn't overcommit too hard there because, well, she flashed out, but still, just go for these plays. Run around the map. If you have this much movement speed, just be a menace, right? Don't let the enemies get any resources. And that's what I like so much about this build. Of course here I get hit by the Q, so he lives, but the thing is, if you're taking away resources from the enemies, it gives you a much better chance at winning than just scaling up yourself. And that's the playstyle I used to have with First Strike, just scale up yourself, and that's okay in some metas, I guess. But in this meta, where a lot of gank-heavy junglers are strong, you kind of need to match that. And I think with this setup, you can actually match it pretty well. Especially especially in the mid-game, after completing a Rocket Belt. And soon you will see, like, just me running around the map. Like, you should, for example, disengage. Yasuo's just dead. He didn't really even overextend or anything, but I just have so much movement speed, I don't even need to use my abilities in the normal order. I just use my E to get over the wall and then catch up with the Rocket Belt. See how fast I am. It's so disgusting. He just can't get away. Of course I even have a Lulu, but she wasn't even there at the start. So you just, if you're fat, you just run people down and they legit can't be on your screen. And as you see, I'm just playing hyper aggressive. I'm just looking for trades all the time. I know that I'm not gonna die, but I have my W, I have my R. It's a very low chance that they can even kill me, especially if my team's around, of course. Here we just stumped them, of course. Right, we're really ahead at this point. Thresh actually is a pretty nice flash, but he doesn't quite get me. So I think now, yeah, I'm just probably gonna go base here, buy 2 needlessly large rods. I also have had very nice bases this game, of course, obviously because got a lot of kills, but it's also because I just have pretty efficient farming, right? That's always gonna be the bread and butter. See, as you can see, I'm just running around the map here. I see an enemy that's on my screen and I say, no, you're not allowed. Just gonna kill him. This is actually the highlight of this game. What's gonna happen here in a second. I want you to be honest with yourself. Right? Do you think I can kill the Lilia here? Probably, yeah, right? Obviously, if I'm asking the question, you will probably say yes. But just see the way what happens. I miss my Q. Do you still think I can kill her? Yes, I actually can because of the movement speed I have, right? I can just E onto Rocket Belt behind her, proc my passive, and she's dead. Like, this is the kind of stuff this build enables. Obviously, this is also just super fun getting kills like these. But the fact that I'm able to kill her even though I miss my Q and just do this, it's crazy, right? And you could never do that with the Nashor's build probably because you just don't have the movement speed to get in range. And it's just so much fun playing like this, in my opinion. You're just permanently farming highlight clips. Yeah, I guess now we just get the Drake. I mean, the game's obviously pretty much over at this point. I don't know if there's any more important things I can really showcase here, but let's just see. Yeah, I guess here I die because I overcommit. I just play with zero respect this game, right? And that's, I think that's actually something you can do with Ekko, because and it will make you a better player. Just start playing with zero respect. You will probably fuck up the first few times, but after that, it will make you a better player automatically. For sure. And also that's, for example, one of the reasons I don't build Zhonya's or whatever. It's just building Zhonya's will make you a worse player. First of all, it will take away carry potential because you're just lacking damage. And also it will just make you not use your W and R as efficient as you could be using them because you still have the Zhonya's. Also, I just want to say, like, the Lich Bane damage is, in my opinion, not impressive at all for like how fat I am. But I still think it feels really good just because of the movement speed and the ability haste. Honestly, like, it's not even about the damage or like the burst damage. Here also, yeah, see, like the way I'm moving here, I'm just really abusing my movement speed. See, I'm just constantly staying at range and then waiting for my abilities to come up, and then I'm re-engaging. And that's how you should play Ekko, always. just always play around your cooldowns. Especially with this setup, you have so much movement speed. This was a mistake, ulting out there. I didn't really think about the fact that I had Lulu next to me, right? So could have definitely stayed in there. Yeah, but I'm just constantly running and really abusing the spacing you have with this movement speed. Alright, here again. Oh, never mind, yeah, here. I think I had to flash there because I was under the tower. Yeah, I think now game's basically over. Just as soon as enemies are really on your screen, you can engage on them. Yeah, as someone was saying in chat right now, Ekko is really, he is the hardest champ to deal with, I think, or one of the hardest if he's fed, for sure. Especially with the setup where you just run at enemies. See, the Karthus thought he was like staying in like range where he's safe, but little did he know he was absolutely not safe. Yeah, I just run at him, and he's just too slow, and I won't tap him. And then it's, if you're this fed, it's incredibly difficult to kill an Ekko, of course, because of the R, because of the W and everything. No. But this game is just over. Alright, so yeah, this was basically it for the review. I hope you could learn something. I'll definitely be reviewing other games as well. This obviously was just a complete stump, but I think getting 22 kills in like 26 minutes means you definitely did a lot. So I just wanted to, I think in this game I really was able to showcase just how far you can push your leads, right? So I just want you to be aware of it. And also people saying that Ekko is a weak early champ, right? How many kills did I get before 10 minutes? I think 4 or something. You can easily get kills with Ekko. Like, people that say Ekko is a weak early champ, they're just making excuses. Yeah, I got 3 kills before 10 minutes. And I average around like 3.5 kill participations on Ekko before 10 minutes, so he's definitely a late game scaling champ, but he's not at all a completely useless early champ. As soon as you hit level 3 and you have all your 3 basic abilities, you're a very viable dueling champ. So, you know, just be aware of that. And just with this build, I think it's very easy to snowball. And as you could see, the enemies, they just weren't allowed to be anywhere near me after I hit my rocket belt, basically. So with this build, you can really snowball, and you can't really do it as much with the Nashor's because you won't have the movement speed to always catch up to the enemies and just be a complete menace. Also, the ability haste really helps. It's not something I've talked about in this game, but just having, like, you're constantly playing around your abilities, so obviously having them up more is gonna be valuable, right? That's also why I used to play Transcendence. The reason I stopped doing it because I think it's too greedy nowadays, but yeah, that's basically it.